case. The clerk will be sworn, please.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes.
Have a seat. Slide up the microphone, please, ma'am.
Thank you.
May I inquire?
You may.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Could you please introduce yourself to our jury and spell your name for the court reporter?
My name is Molly Papania. Molly, last name Papania, P-A-P-A-N-I-A.
Ms. Papania, where do you live?
I live on Deer Valley Drive in Golden Eagle.
Okay. So you're familiar with the Golden Eagle subdivision neighborhood?
Very.
Okay. Were you living there back in 2014?
Yes.
Okay. Did you also work for the Housing Authority back in
I did. I
2014?
was the association manager for the Homes Association from 2008 to 2015.
Okay. What were sort of your duties with that Housing Authority?
Basically, I would run the day-to-day duties of the association, security, roads and maintenance, taking care of violations, that kind of thing.
And when you say violations, what are we sort of talking about?
Well, Golden Eagle has covenants and restrictions, so there's certain things that you can do in Golden Eagle and can't do.
Are they kind of, I guess, quality of life violations, things to keep the neighborhood looking nice? That's
You got it, aesthetic type.
And I think you mentioned you dealt with security. What kind of security is present at the Golden Eagle neighborhood?
It's a gated community, so the entrances, you have to have a opener to access the gates, or you have to use the call box. We also have security guards that rove around the community. Sometimes they're at the gates 7 days a week, but not 24 hours a day.
Okay. How many gates are at Golden Eagle?
3 entrance gates and 3 exit gates.
Okay. Now these gates, I guess, is the whole neighborhood fenced, I guess, or is it like a fenced perimeter of the neighborhood?
It's not. The gates at the entrances are mostly aesthetic. You do have to access the gates to enter the community with a vehicle, but the whole perimeter of the community is not completely walled in, so to speak.
Okay. So there's no access by vehicle to the Golden Eagle neighborhood without going through one of those 3 security gates?
None.
Okay. And you started mentioning this a little bit. Could you walk us through what are the various ways, I guess, we're sitting at the security gate. How might, if you're in a vehicle, you get into or access the Golden Eagle neighborhood?
Right. Typically, you can access the community in 3 ways. You can access through a remote opener, which you buy from the homeowners association.
Is that just like a little clicker?
You got it. It's a little bitty, looks like a garage door opener.
Okay.
You purchase those from the Homes Association. You can access it by programming your vehicle through like an integrated garage door type opener that most cars have these days, or you can use the call box system.
And can you walk us through, how does the call box system work?
Okay, if you're a resident, when you come into the Homeowners Association office, we issue you a code, and your name is put into a directory in the call box. So when you have visitors who come to visit you, they would look up your code in the call box, they would enter it in, and then that code would call your home number or your cell phone number. Then you would press 9 and the gate would open.
Okay, so I guess the homeowner receiving the call would either answer their landline or cell phone and press 9?
Yes.
I guess, was there any sort of code at the call box you could punch in and then the gate would open?
We do have a code for that, but that's only used for law enforcement.
Okay, so I guess a code isn't sent to visitors or residents that they can just punch in at the box to open the gates?
No.
Only to law enforcement?
Right.
Okay. Is there sort of a 4th way that some residents make use of to access or get through the security gate?
Yeah, you can tailgate through.
Okay, and
You
can you
just
just walk
close-
us through kind of how
Yeah,
that
if
works?
somebody ahead of you has a remote opener, they'll open the gate and then you just follow closely behind them. Your vehicle will, I guess, stay in the loop, which is in the asphalt, and it'll think it's just one big car, and the gate will stay open, and 2 or 3 cars can actually go through.
Okay. You familiar with the Frasches or the Frasch residents?
I am.
Okay. And I guess sometime after this incident, were you asked to provide or facilitate the law enforcement getting a hold of
Yes.
security footage?
Yes.
Okay. Have you had a chance to view that security footage?
Only what I've seen on TV.
Ah.
The Leon County Sheriff's deputies took the video, and we didn't have any access after that, so.
Do you recall meeting with me last week?
I do.
Do you remember watching the security video?
Yes.
Okay. Did that refresh your memory?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Permission to approach, Your Honor?
You may.
And the video that you watched in my office, did it appear to have been manipulated or edited in
No.
any sort of way? It seemed
No.
to be
Yeah.
accurate.
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state moves to introduce what's been pre-marked as State's Exhibits 101 and 102.
Is there any objection?
No objection.
101 and 102 will be admitted.
Permission to publish, Your Honor.
You may. Nothing like having 30 people stare at you to facilitate by getting things to work. I assume there's no sound to this.
No, sir. Ms. Picania, what gate are we looking at here?
That looks like the south gate.
And this would be the gate closest to the Frasch home?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, and that's call box you talked about, you can use to, I guess, call a resident?
Yes.
Ms. Pena, is one of the ways a resident, if they don't have their clicker, could access the gate to punch the number in for their own home and have, say, it call their cell phone and then press 9?
Yes.
Have we just observed perhaps tailgating at the gate?
Yes. That's, yes.
Judge, if the state can identify which exhibit that was, 101 or 102?
101.
Thank you.
Ms. Pena, the file notes 2/21/2014. Would that be consistent with the video you provided to law enforcement for the 21st, the day
Yes.
before Ms. Frasch's death?
Yes.
So what we just observed is the entrance into that gate
Yes.
on the 21st?
I believe so, yes.
Okay. Moment to confer, Your Honor.
You might.
Was one of the things you also provided to law enforcement surveillance from this 22nd?
Yes.
Okay, in the morning time around 8 a.m.?
Yes.
Okay. And these were provided to law enforcement?
Yes.
And I guess providing the surveillance video and facilitating sort of getting from the security on scene, I guess, to law enforcement, was that mostly your role in this case?
Actually, we had a computer company work directly with the Leon County Sheriff's deputies to get the video. It went straight, they were sitting next to them getting the video from the DVRs.
And it just reminded me, was there, I guess, sort of did you have occasion, you mentioned violations in the
Yeah.
neighborhood. Was the Frasch home subject to any sort of violations that had to be cleared up around the time of Ms. Frosch's death?
It was.
Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Some of the neighbors were complaining that there was a huge number of cars in the driveway, over 25, 30 cars. There were cars parked on the lawn, and the mailbox, I believe, was kind of tilted, looked like it was about to fall over. Some of the neighbors complained that there was junk in the driveway, garage-type items kind of thing, so we sent Mr. Frasch a letter saying, please take care of all this stuff. The neighbors are complaining, and it looks terrible, kind of thing.
Eventually were the cars, I guess, removed from the front lawn following the
They
correspondence?
were. Mm-hmm.
Moment to confer, Your Honor.
You may have.
Are you aware of what date or around what time the cars were finally removed from the yard?
Maybe the first week in February. I can't say for sure, but we sent the letter first week to maybe somewhere around January 10th, January 13th kind of time frame, and it was a couple weeks later, all the cars were gone.
Nothing further this time, Your Honor.
Cross.
Yes, sir.
Ma'am, the video that we did see here, number one, exhibit 101,
I think you said it was 102.
I'm sorry,
It's 101, Your Honor.
101.
101. It showed a white Hummer pulling up,
Yes.
and it apparently sat at the entranceway for quite some time, until a second vehicle pulled up, and a gentleman in a red shirt came up and opened the gate. Is that what happened?
That's what looks like happened.
Okay, and so then when he got back in his car, he basically, is that what you call tailgating, when he tailgated through? Had he not gotten back into the car right away, basically he could have just pulled his car up and done the same thing that he did to allow the white Hummer to go through.
He could have.
Okay, so that wasn't any unusual situation. People forget, lose their clickers, can't get through the gate, maybe got to wait for somebody else to come.
Yes.
Okay. Is that gate, I think that was around 11, almost midnight. Do you remember that?
I don't remember the exact time. I know it was late at night, but
Okay. Well, the times that are shown on the videos that Golden Eagle keeps, they're accurate?
they should be accurate.
Should be accurate. Okay. Is that gate manned 24/7?
No.
Okay. Are any of the gates manned 24/7?
No.
Okay. So when there's not somebody manning the gates, basically you've got video as your source.
Correct.
You were asked on direct examination whether there was any way vehicular traffic could get into Golden Eagle other than through the three gates. Could four-wheelers and golf carts get into the property without having to go through the gates?
It's possible if they went through someone's yard type of thing.
Right, okay.
There's no access road for that.
Right. And you indicated that in response to the letter that was sent out by what, the Housing Authority or the homeowners
Yes.
group, within a couple weeks, the cars were moved.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. That's all I got, Judge.
Redirect.
No redirect, Your Honor.
All right. Any juror have a question of this witness? All right. You can step down. Do we want to keep her further?
Subject to recall, it's just
All right.
the courthouse, Your Honor.
Subject to recall. Call your next witness.
The state will call Luis Torres to stand.
Come on up here, please, sir.
Good morning.
Myself.
Could you please introduce yourself to the jury and spell your name for our court reporter?
My name is Luis Torres.
Okay. And could you spell it for our court reporter? She's taking down
Sure.
everything.
Luis, L-U-I-S, Torres, T-O-R-R-E-S.
Thank you, Mr. Torres.
Yes.
Mr. Torres, where are you from? Where do you live?
I live in Miami, Florida.
So, South Florida.
South Florida.
Did you drive up yesterday?
Yes.
Okay. Are you familiar with the defendant in this case, Mr. Adam Frasch?
Pardon?
Are you familiar with Mr. Adam Frasch?
Yes, sir.
How do you know Mr. Frasch?
I met Mr. Adam Frasch when I was selling my boat, and he answered the ad.
Okay. And you say an ad. Well, guess what was this ad for?
Well, a friend of mine, he's a broker, and he put it up in different locales, you know, to sell the boat, and Mr. Frasch answered.
So you were trying to sell your boat?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Mr. Frost eventually answered, I guess, the broker's ad for the boat?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And did you sell your boat to Mr. Frost?
That's correct.
Okay. I guess did that sort of end the relationship between you and Mr. Frost once you sold the boat, or did the relationship sort of keep going?
It kept going in the matter that I offered him to, since he was from out of town, to look after the boat until he got his, you know, see what he was going to do with it. If he was going to leave it here or take it somewhere else.
Okay. So you watched over the boat, that sort of thing, in
Yes.
Miami because Mr. Frost was from out of town?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How did you mostly keep in touch with Mr. Frost?
So telephone conversation.
Did you set up a bank account at some point?
Yes.
What was the point of setting up a bank account?
There were, you know, maintenance to be done and the rental of the marine and stuff, and you know, he would deposit money for me to pay up and pay for the maintenance and stuff.
So he would provide the rental fee through a bank account for you to then pay the marina?
That's correct.
What's your telephone number, sir? What's your telephone number?
305-308-9380.
Do that a little slower if you would for us, please, sir. 305?
308-9380.
Okay, thank you, sir. Was this the same phone number you had back in 2014?
That's correct.
Okay. Permission to retrieve evidence from Madam Clerk.
You mind?
Is it number 35? So, directing your attention to your name, is that your phone number, the 308-9380?
Correct.
So that's accurate?
Correct.
So that 9380 number, 305 number, that was your number back in 2014 as well, and that's still your number today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, directing your attention, do you remember having your last phone call with Mr. Frasch?
Yeah.
Have you been asked about that interview
Yes, sir.
or that phone call?
Mm-hmm.
Did you call the defendant? Did he call you? Do you remember how the phone call came to have happened?
I don't honestly recall if I called him or he called me at this time.
Okay. But you remember having the phone call?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What sorts of things were you talking about? What was the nature of the call? What was the subject of the call?
Subject of the call was basically about the maintenance of the boat, you know, and that when he would deposit so I could arrange for things to be done.
Was he a little behind on payments?
I would say not behind, but on time.
On time. I guess were payments upcoming, so you were trying to make sure.
Yes, sir. Correct.
Okay. Okay. At some point, did he mention a situation that had come up?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, in the conversation about this and that, he said that He might need a couple of days, a few days, something like that. I don't recall the exact wording. And that he would send me the money.
Okay. Did he mention some sort of trouble or something serious?
He did mention that he had a problem, a serious problem.
So he mentioned a serious problem had come up.
Came up, yes, something like that.
Okay. And this was the last time you spoke with Mr. Frasch?
I believe so, yes. Yes.
You don't recall having any other conversations with Mr. Frasch after that?
No, sir.
Moment to confer? And Mr. Torres, to the best of your recollection, when Mr. Frosch talked about the situation, what were his exact words to the best of your recollection?
More or less that he would deposit the money in the few coming days.
But in terms of you said there was a serious conversation or a situation he had, right?
Yes.
He mentioned that?
Yes.
What were the exact words about that he used, to the best of your recollection?
He did something like something had come up very serious, and he would need a couple of days.
No further questions.
Go on.
Morning, Mr. Torres.
Morning, sir.
Dr. Frasch had called you on a couple of occasions about trying to get some repairs and some work done on that boat, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And what all was needed to be done on the boat?
Basically, general maintenance, upkeep, cleaning, washing, marina rental,
Right.
bottom painting, if I remember correctly,
Was this boat kept in the water or in dry storage?
in the water, sir.
In the water? So you've got barnacles and you've got constant maintenance on it.
Correct.
Incidentally, what size boat are we talking about?
This was a 1979 cover 28-foot cruiser.
Okay. When Dr. Frasch had called you and said something to come up, had he been talking about, had he been behind or been talking about finances?
No, no finances. I don't know. I didn't ask.
Did he indicate anything to you that he had some money problems?
No, sir.
Okay. Had he been behind on some of the payments?
Maybe at one time he was behind a month or so.
Okay. And what are we talking about, the charges that we're running monthly at your marina down there?
Repeat.
Keep a boat that size in the water.
How much it was?
Yes, sir.
If I remember correctly, it was about $575 or $550 a month.
Okay. And then you had the other maintenance and the other upkeep costs, is that right?
Yes, sir.
How many times did Dr. Frosch use that boat after you sold it to him?
One time.
One time? And how long before this last phone call had you sold the boat to Dr. Frosch?
I don't know right now. Maybe a couple of months,
A couple of months? Okay.
maybe.
So basically the boat had not been used?
No, sir.
Okay. Was the boat seaworthy?
Yes.
Okay. 79, so it would have been 34, 35 years old?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Whereabouts was the boat kept? On the Miami River or somewhere else?
That's correct. On the Miami River, yes.
Far upriver or down closer to Biscayne?
It would be about from Be about 50 minutes from the Bay Area.
60?
No, 5 minutes. 5,
Oh.
10 minutes.
I'm sorry.
No, 5, 10 minutes.
I got you.
Pretty close to the outlet.
Okay, thank you. That's all I've got, Judge.
Redirect.
So I guess to summarize,
We don't summarize. Do you have another question, Mr. Moody?
yes, sir. So what was your understanding of when you should expect payment from Mr. Frasch?
It was kind of usual. Whenever he had time, he would deposit the money, and and I would take care of the rest.
Okay, and after following your conversation, what was your understanding of, I guess, when you should expect payment based on what he had told you?
Short time,
Okay. Once he had
Maybe-
finished dealing with this
maybe a
serious
week.
situation?
a week more or less.
Okay. But he had indicated there was something that had come up?
Yes.
Nothing further?
Any juror have a question of this witness? All right, you can step down. Do we need to keep this witness any further?
Not
No,
by-
Your Honor.
Not by the defense.
All right, you're excused. Thank you for being here. Free to go about your business. Call your next witness.
Kendall Lindsay.
If you want to stand up, feel free. Stand up. If you would face the clerk and be sworn here, please, sir. Raise your right hand.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Have a seat. Slide up the microphone, please, sir. Slide it on up a little bit closer.
Okay.
All right, you may proceed.
Sir, please say your name and spell your name.
Kendall Lindsay, Kendle, Lindsey.
Mr. Lindsay, are you employed?
Yes,
How are you employed?
Prestige.
How long have you been with Prestige?
Going on 2 years.
Get a little closer
Going on
to
2
that
years.
mic, if you would, please, Mr. Lindsay.
Going on 2
I'm getting
years.
old, I don't hear as well as I once did. Thank you.
All right.
Going on 2 years, and what about before that?
Maybe to Infinity. For
Okay,
about-
so you're a car salesman?
Correct.
Okay. And you know Adam Frasch?
Yes.
How do you know him?
Sold him a car many years ago.
All right, and did y'all become friends?
Yes.
Yes. And were you also employed by Mr. Frasch?
Not employed, but he paid me for delivering cars sometimes.
Okay. Was he a dealer or a collector of cars?
He was a collector.
Okay. And did you hang out with him socially as well?
Yes.
All right, could you please point out and describe what Mr. Frasch is wearing if he's here in the courtroom?
This jacket over the camel color, good jacket there,
Okay, at the defense table?
right there.
Seated over there. Thank you very much. And you said he was a car collector, right?
Oh, yeah.
And about how many cars did he have during the time frame that you knew him?
A lot. I can't count them, but a lot.
Hundreds? Thousands?
Nah, not that many. Probably close to hundreds that I know of.
Close to 100. And what is the time frame for that?
That he
That he would have
accumulated 100 cars.
Yeah.
I don't know. He had cars before I met him. So when I was with him, I've known him to buy at least 20, 30 cars.
Okay. How long have you known him?
4 or 5 years, I think,
Okay, and during that time, he owned only 20 or 30 cars?
that I've seen him purchase 20 or 30 cars.
Oh,
He had
okay.
cars before I met him.
Oh, so he had a bunch when you
Yeah.
got to know him?
Mhm.
Okay. And did he have a bunch of cars parked in his driveway typically?
Yes,
And you had a chance to observe that?
yes.
Was that at the Inverness Drive address in Golden Eagle?
I was at all his addresses that I've seen.
All his addresses had a bunch of cars?
Yeah.
Okay. What about boats? Did he also have boats?
Yes.
Okay. What kind of cars and boats were these?
Exotic cars. You like different cars, classic to European to
Okay, give us some examples.
Mercedes, old eccentric cars.
Ferrari,
Yes, Ferrari.
Rolls Royce?
I don't remember seeing a Rolls Royce, but I wouldn't be surprised.
And what about the boats? I don't know much about boats, but were his boats kind of like expensive, extravagant boats?
Yes,
And where did he keep his boats?
everywhere. Different places. He had a place where he paid to keep him stay, some of his home residence, stuff like that.
And where was that?
Napleton is one, Miami is another, Panama City, Thomasville, Georgia, and Tallahassee that I know of.
All right. Do you know whether he had a fountain boat? Fountain?
Not sure.
Okay. Do you know whether Mr. Frasch had received any kind of training as a boxer?
Yes, from a guy named Gary in Thomasville. He just picking it up before all this stuff happened.
Okay. Was it about 6 or 7 months that he'd been training with that guy at the time that Miss Frasch was killed?
I can't say for sure, but I think that's about accurate.
Okay. And did you know the victim in this case, Mrs. Frasch?
Yes,
How did you know her?
I met her through Doc.
From being
Adam
Mr.
Frasch.
Frosch's wife?
Mhm.
Okay. And where was she from, if you know?
Madagascar, if I'm not mistaken.
Was English her first language?
I think French was, but she spoke good English.
Okay. Where was her family, if you know?
Madagascar.
Were you aware during the time that you socialized with Mr. Frasch of her family ever coming to visit her here in Tallahassee or anywhere in the United States?
No.
In terms of Mrs. Frosch's appearance, would you describe her as a high maintenance or a low maintenance woman?
Very high.
Okay, and what are you basing that on?
How she carried herself, the things that she wanted, how she dressed, how she demanded things that she wanted.
She wore expensive clothes?
Very.
Did she have a personal makeup artist?
I wouldn't be surprised, but I've never seen anybody put makeup on her.
Personal wig stylist? Do you know about that?
I know she paid a lot of money for wigs. I know that she had a lady in Tallahassee Mall. I think she was buying expensive wigs.
And did she always have those wigs on when she would go out?
Yes.
Did she spend a lot of money?
Yes, a lot.
Did she work or have any means to earn any money?
No,
So she was financially dependent on Mr. Frosch.
absolutely.
Is it fair to say that the entire Frosch family, including the kids, lived a lavish or an extravagant lifestyle during the time that you knew them?
Yes.
Were you at High Rose, the older child's first birthday party? Were you present at that party?
No, I didn't go to that party.
Are you aware of how much was spent on that party?
I don't remember. I know it was crazy. I didn't go to the party because I didn't want to. I was invited, but I just didn't want to be a part of that.
And at the time of Mrs. Frosch's death, did she legally have possession of that home in Golden Eagle?
I think so.
And she had sole custody of the kids at that time pursuant to a court order, correct?
I think so.
I'm going to show you what I've marked as State's Exhibit 2. Do you recognize that document?
I don't recognize it, but I remember it happening.
How do you remember it?
I think Adam told me that her lawyers was trying to file charges against me for child support or whatever. It didn't make any sense to me, but I didn't ever look further into it.
You're named as a party in that document, yes?
Yeah,
And do you know why you're named as a party?
not really.
Okay. But it's, remember the exact style of the case.
Okay.
In re the marriage of Samra Frasch and Adam Michael Frasch responded, and then you're listed, and Kendall Lindsay, but you don't know why you're listed on it.
No.
Judge, I'm gonna ask to admit State's Exhibit 2 into evidence.
Relevance.
Beg your pardon?
Object on relevance.
Let's go sidebar, please. Court reporter. State's Exhibit 2 is admitted. You may.
So, Mr. Lindsay, this document is entitled Order on Wife's Emergency Motion for Temporary Alimony, Child Support, Attorney's Fees, Suit Money, and Costs, and then it discusses a temporary parenting plan and exclusive use and possession of a marital home. You didn't have, or did you have anything to do with the marriage between Mr. and Mrs. Frasch? I mean, you weren't married to either one of them, were you?
No.
Okay, and you didn't have anything to do with child support, you weren't the father of either of those children, were you?
Correct.
Okay, so you weren't ordered at any point to pay anything to either party in reference to their marriage, their child support, or anything like that, were you?
Absolutely not.
How did you learn about the death of Mrs. Frasch?
A friend of mine gave me a call.
And if you know, who did the friend learn it from?
The guy that discovered the body was a relative of his.
Okay, so Mr. Gardner told this guy who told you.
I don't know if Mr. Gardner told him, but I found out through that guy, a friend of mine.
Okay. And do you remember when you learned of her death?
Not the exact date, but I remember I was just getting off work, and he gave me a call, and I answered the phone.
Okay, and you remember what time of day that was?
I'm not sure.
Was that the same day that her body was discovered?
Yes.
All right, and if you know, was that, when you learned of it, was that still, were the police still out at the residence at that time?
Yes.
All right, what did you do once you learned that Mrs. Frasch was deceased?
Immediately called Adam.
Adam Frasch, the defendant?
Mm-hmm.
And at what number did you call him, if you remember?
I don't remember.
Would you recognize the numbers if you saw them?
Really, normally I just have his name in my phone.
Okay. Publishing states 95. Are you able to identify this number on the bottom here as your phone number?
That's correct.
Okay. And this number at the top for Mr. Frosch, do you have any reason to
No,
doubt that that was the number you called that day?
I wouldn't know, like I just have his name in my phone. I never really looked at the number, but I wouldn't doubt if that's the number he had at the time.
During the time that you knew Mr. Frosch, did you always call him at one phone number, or did he have a bunch of different phones that you called him at?
I had her number and his number, mostly just one number, but I know he did have more than one phone number.
And the number that you called that day, was that the same number that you had always contacted him at?
Most likely.
Were you able to connect with Mr. Frasch?
Yes.
Did that take some doing, or did you get him on the phone the first time you tried?
Got him on the phone the first time I tried.
All right, and what was the nature of that conversation?
I asked him, was he sitting down? I remember that, and I said, hey, I heard some terrible news out at your house. And he was like, what are you talking about? And I said, I heard that. I said, well, I'm going to give you this information. Let me find out first, and I'll give you a call back. And I hung up, and I called a friend of mine.
All right, so let me stop you right there. The first time you talked to him, you did or did not tell him she
I
was
did not
dead?
reveal it.
You just said something terrible happened?
I just told him that I thought better of it. I didn't want to panic him by saying, hey, your wife is dead. I just wanted to find out before I relayed that message to him at that point.
Okay. So what did you do to find out or confirm the
I called
information?
a friend of mine, an officer, and he said he couldn't tell me particularly. He said, but it has been something going on Inverness Drive, and that was enough for me because of what I have heard from my friend that she was no longer with us. So then I called him back, and I got him, and I told him.
What specifically did you tell him?
I said, they said that Samuel was drowned at the bottom of the pool. And he was like, what? And I imagine he had his daughter in his hands because he said, I heard her say, Dad, why are you crying? And he was just asking me, are you serious? What are you saying? What are you saying?
All right,
And I
so
told him.
specifically you told him his wife was dead and she had been pulled out of the pool. Did you say what pool?
I just said that she was in the bottom of the pool. At that point, I don't remember saying she was pulled out at all.
Did you give him any other details about her death?
That's all I knew.
That she had been found at the bottom of the pool?
Maybe not in those words, but somewhat.
Okay. But definitely not any other details?
Not that I can recall.
Nothing about a head injury?
No.
Nothing about a hose or a flip-flop or a dog?
No, I didn't know anything like that. This is only like 5 or 10 minutes after I found out. I didn't know anything at that point.
Okay, and did he tell you where he was at
Panama
the
City.
time of the call? Okay.
Mhm.
Nothing further, Judge.
Cross.
Mr. Lindsay, the call that you got was originally from a friend of the Gardners?
I think it's a relative, but I knew they knew each other. Sure.
And so basically, you learned that something's happened to Mrs. Frasch.
Yes.
And as you follow up on it, you learned either in that call or in another one that she had drowned in the pool
Yes, sir.
and had been pulled out of the pool, had been found in the bottom of the pool.
I didn't know she had been pulled out. I just found that she was no longer with us was the exact words my friend told me.
And she'd been in the pool.
Yes.
Okay. And is that what you relayed to Dr. Frosch when you called him the
That's
second
right.
time?
That's right.
So you recall, you said he was in Panama City, and I think you said you heard one of the children in his arm or next to him or right close by the phone?
Yes.
Okay. Later that day or that night, did you have any other conversations with Dr. Frosch?
No, I offered if I told him he need to come back and see what's going on. If he need my wife and I to keep his daughters, he can drop them by the house on the way there. And that's the last time I told him. He said he'll do that, and that's the last time I talked to him.
And he indicated to you that he was getting ready to leave Panama City and come on back,
Come straight back.
coming straight back. Okay. But you never saw him later that night, is that right?
No, sir.
May I have a moment, Judge?
You may.
In that telephone conversation with Dr. Frasch after you advised him of his wife's passing, was he upset?
Oh, yeah.
And you indicated that he'd been crying?
His daughter did. He sounded like.
All right. Did you offer to even come get him?
I think I did. I'm not sure, but I think whatever I could have did to help him in that situation, I just was trying to get him back here, and we'll take care of the girls. That's all I offered that I remember.
But he indicated, no, I'm leaving now, I'm coming back.
He said he's on the way. I'm heading
Okay.
right there right now.
Thank you.
Redirect.
No, sir.
Did you ever have a question of this witness? All right. You going to step down? Do we need to keep him further?
Yes, he's subject to recall.
All right, be subject to recall. Next witness.